Hey guys, it's Ben. Back to my second reflection for sports sponsorship. After reviewing my initial introduction reflection, I kind of decided that this is something I could definitely work off of and keep building on to the future. And I think it actually come out at the end as a pretty cool project. So, uh, couple things that I missed last week. I didn't really keep track of the date at any time, so that last one was recorded on the 7th. This one I'm recording on the night of the 13th, right after lecture. But I don't really want to keep it on like a week-to-week basis because that's kind of what I did last year, and I feel like that's where I lost some of my marks. So I've kind of decided that I want to take a major theme from each week kind of, and then just roll with that and then just make that about what my reflection will be on. So this week I decided I want my theme to be around the congruence of partnerships and how the fit is essential for a successful sponsorship relationship. So let's get right into it. Getting right into it here. So this is a basic definition of sponsorship that you provide in lecture. All these kind of definitions or any academic material that I bring into my reflections like this, they're all going to be from your PowerPoints. So I'm not going to be using any citation because that's where they're all coming from. So this definition that you provided us basically has two main parts to sponsorship. The first one is the actual exchange of cash or in-kind payment uh, from one party to be able to associate themselves with the property of another party. The second part is the actual marketing of the association by the sponsors. So, as I mentioned last week briefly, in the summer I was a intern with the Saskatchewan Rattlers. That's their logo in the bottom left. And one of the things I did in my internship was negotiate this sponsorship agreement with Moon Insurance. So, what we had to do with the Rattlers was look at our inventory of assets and see what we wanted to give them as part of the agreement, how we could tailor that to them. And we decided on we want to do the Shoot for the Moon halftime shot. We needed a sponsor for that, and we felt like Moon Insurance would be a great fit just because of their name and the play on words that we can make with it. So we thought that that would be a great fit for our organizations. So moving on here. So the overall sponsorship process, it basically has four main components. So the first one we're kind of just talking about in the context of the Rattlers, it's the foundation. So this is where you do your inventory of your assets, decide what you actually want to get out of the plan, start the early phases of a marketing plan. Then part two is customizing the sponsorship agreement. So this is targeting a sponsor and really developing the plan tailor-made to them. Realization is where you actually negotiate the sponsorship out with a party. So this is like when we actually sat down and hashed out the details of the agreement with Moon Insurance. And then implementing the plan is also part of that. Then co-activation. So this is basically just servicing the plan, reviewing how the sponsorship agreement is working, and any ways that we could renew or replace certain aspects of it to keep it going. So this slide basically depicts where the congruence actually fits in to the sponsorship process. So in the customization stage, you're definitely going to be wanting to target a sponsor here. So, well, actually, I wonder if never mind. Sorry. I was just wondering if my mouse goes up in the videos, but not of importance. So anyway, targeting the sponsor. So you got to make sure that your parties fit. You got to make sure that you got some kind of congruence because the best relationships are formed when the property and the sponsor have similar visions, goals, and values. So they got to fit together nicely. You also got to examine the history and the precedents of the sponsor as well as their budget and any other competitors in their industry that you might have sponsoring you. So once again, taking this into the context of Moon Insurance, um, because I feel like that could be a really big learning point here. So the sponsorship process, like I was saying before, the foundation, we want to get the half court shot. So when we're customizing it and we're targeting different sponsors, we definitely focused on the fit, the congruence of the relationship. Because like I said before, a play on words, we thought that'd be perfect. So, sorry. We looked at the history and precedence of Moon Insurance. They had absolutely no experience sponsoring any other organizations or events or anything in the past. And when we sat down for negotiations with them, he made it abundantly clear that they just really wanted to build their awareness in the local community. And they thought this brand new sports team coming in, that'd be a perfect opportunity. And he made it clear that his budget was whatever we needed it to be. Like he was really good about it that way. He had lots of money though, so can't really blame him, I guess. And then on the competitive front of things, we didn't even have rival insurance sponsor or anything. So we told him that his sponsorship, like his Moon Insurance, they could have the exclusive sponsor in like an insurance category. Like they'd have their category exclusivity there. So we won't take in any more insurance sponsors as part of the deal, and that exclusivity adds some value to the sponsorship package there. So another example of a perfect fit, in my opinion, in sponsorship is the Call of Duty double XP with Mountain Dew. Well, it's not always Call of Duty, but primarily it is now because this is their new agreement. So essentially how it works, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, it's a brand new video game, and you play online as your soldier, and then the more you play, the more you level up and you get new abilities and new guns and new attachments and all that kind of stuff. But to level up, you need experience, also known as XP. So this sponsorship agreement, which I think is absolutely brilliant, is they signed with Mountain Dew. So Mountain Dew, or they partnered with Mountain Dew, my bad. So Mountain Dew on all of their product lines, so like Dorito, Game Fuel, and then just their regular Mountain Dew products, they have this double XP promotion going on. So essentially how it works is you go to the store, you buy a Mountain Dew, you open up the cap, you look on the bottom, and it has a code that you could go home, input into your Call of Duty, and then as you play, you can now gain double XP instead of just normal XP. You get double the amount for the same effort. So when I was little, like I thought this was like the coolest thing because this has been around forever. The Halo, like a different video game, used to have this partnership with Mountain Dew, but now Call of Duty has it. And like Mountain Dew is and Doritos are just a classic snack for when you're playing video games. So I remember after school every day, hit the corner store, buy some Mountain Dew, go home, game all day. That was before I had any responsibilities, I guess. So just this kind of fit because Doritos and Mountain Dew are seen as like a gamer food, and then Call of Duty is like a gamer's heaven. So it's just like literally a perfect fit between those two parties. Like I can't really imagine a sponsorship with better congruence than this. So going into this next artifact here, need to add a little bit of context before we get into it. So like I was saying, I had my internship with the Rattlers and the CEBL in the summer, so I have lots of inside information about their future plans, which I'm not completely allowed to share with you, but by the time that you see this project, I believe this will be public information, so it wouldn't matter too much. If not, I'm just going to have to delete this part. But another perfect fit in more related to the sport industry is a partnership coming down the pipeline in the near future between the CEBL and CBC Broadcasting. So alliances are important in sport, and they're necessary collaborations because they allow access to mutual resources and learning opportunities. That's kind of what we learned in lecture. So a sponsorship, if utilized correctly, can fill the capability gaps of both the parties involved. So this is a great example of fit for sponsorship. So the CEBL just concluded their inaugural season. Next season, they're going into year 2. And the only way that you could watch games for their inaugural season was to either be at them live or go online to their website, cebl.tv, and you could broadcast, like live stream any game for free. But unfortunately, that didn't have a lot of hits. Not that many people were watching games on browsers like that, unless they actually had like an added or invested interest into the team. So it wasn't that successful as a broadcasting structure or framework. So they've definitely been looking at things that they could do to get on actual TV and actually be broadcasted across the country. So that's kind of where they're standing. And then on the vice versa side, CBC, as a broadcasting company, during the summer months when the CEBL is being played, because it runs from April, May, June, and July, or April, May, June, July, and August. May to August. That's where the season runs. And CBC doesn't really have any rights to sports other than weird niche sports on the odd weekend during that time frame. So they don't really have any sports that they could broadcast to Canadians. So it's a perfect example of that capability gap that I was talking about. So CBC gets a sport that they have the broadcasting rights to broadcast all through the summer when they don't have rights to anything else. And then the CEBL gets a national broadcasting partner to build their awareness across the country, which, once again, this is prime congruence for a partnership here. This is great. So these are the examples that I kind of thought were worth reflecting on for this week. I think this kind of structure that I have of just focusing on a certain topic each week could be unique and definitely something that I could play with. I think this was fairly successful as a second one. Like I said, still kind of getting new to this, so just going to build up the steps every week. Hopefully it'll get better. Production value will go up a little bit. So there you go. That's my second reflection. I'll see you next week.